Good evening. My name is Brooke Miller, and I'm the former immediate past president of the United States Cattlemen's Association. I'm here with Robert Malone, Dr. Robert Malone, and we're just going to have a discussion on mRNA technology and livestock, and just some of the science behind it, and some of the concerns that we have about using this technology in food animals.
So the gist of it is that right now we don't have any of these products that are authorized for cattle, whether it's beef or milk. And I had a long chat with a politician from Wisconsin. Obviously, they have considerable interest more in the dairy side than in the beef side, and talked to him about strategies suggesting that because these mRNA-based technologies are excreted in human breast milk, that there was valid concern about them being transmitted in bovine products, and that ought to be one of the key focuses of the cattle industry for milk production in Wisconsin, milk and cheese. But for folks like the Cattlemen's Association here, I think the big issue is whether or not they're going to be deploying it into your beef cattle, and what that means. Now, what we do know is that a version of this technology developed by Merck and custom engineered for swine herds, basically for these large factory pig farms, has been deployed. And there absolutely is interest in deploying this kind of technology into chicken houses. But as all of you know, in the chicken industry, the margins are just squeaky tight. And so any technology, vaccine technology that's going to be deployed into chicken houses has got to come in at pennies per dose. And even if you just have, let's say gently, a technician going around and vaccinating your chicken flock, you're going to be well over $1 a dose real quick. No matter what the cost is of the raw material. So I don't know how viable this tech is going to be for the chicken industry unless they find a way to aerosolize it. And that's a kind of a holy grail they're also seeking for humans, is aerosolized vaccines that you can just inhale. That's something that's been in the works for well over a decade now.
Okay. Robert's getting pretty technical, and he understands a lot of this technical stuff, and I do a little bit. But I think in the cattle industry, we have to ask a couple questions. What is the benefit and what is the risk?
Yeah.
What is the need? Is there a need for this? In the livestock industry, I personally do not see a need for this, but I see the risk being pretty massive. I mean, number one is it going to be safe for the livestock? Number two, is it going to be safe to eat the livestock? And number three, what is going to be the public perception of this if it is adopted in the livestock industry? And I've had probably more calls and more concerns about this issue than anything else from the general public, the non-agricultural public, who is basically our consumer and our patron. And they're very concerned about this. And I think it'll be a very negatively viewed technology in livestock if this is adopted by our industry. I think people are going to reject it, and that's going to harm our markets. That's going to harm our exports, and it'll harm our beef consumption in the United States.
I agree with you. So we're from a culture where you take care of your animals, and I think that's one of the things that really distinguishes the cattle industry from the chicken industry, for example. So what is the safety profile for your animals? We don't really know. We can extrapolate from humans, but there's been a new development that really, I think, does raise some serious concerns, both for the bulls and the cows, but particularly for the cows. And that is that all of these products are contaminated with small fragments of DNA. And they are being delivered using a highly effective system, the most effective non-viral polynucleotide or gene delivery technology ever developed. And that means that the DNA contamination is going to get into the cells of your animals the same as the RNA is. Now, as the RNA goes into your animal's cells, it produces a protein. And by definition for a vaccine, that protein is a foreign protein. And so your animal's immune system is going to attack all those cells. And this stuff goes all over the body, including to ovaries in particular, which is of concern in terms of reproductive health. There are significant risks to your livestock associated with this tech, and you can't deny it. We see it in the humans. We're now down to the point of just arguing about how frequent is it. And I just don't see the risk benefit here. I don't see that there's a need for these products, particularly in cattle. I think that it's misguided in the swine herds, but in not feasible in chickens. But in the cattle, to deploy this, given all these risks and all these unknowns, it just seems to me that this is something that the Cattlemen's Association would be well served to basically give a hard no to your legislators and to the USDA and try to knock some sense into these people that they're messing around with markets and consumer issues and a whole lot of unknowns that darn well better be looked at before you start deploying this into your cattle herds for whatever great reason they think, maybe it's going to stop them farting less and impact on global warming. But whatever their logic is, my advice is somebody who understands the tech pretty good, just say no.